I said from the river to the sea, I wasn't calling to destroy Israel. I was calling to create a new idea what democracy looks like. And for me, democracy is one state, everybody lives in it, everybody can vote, and it's not ruled by religion. It's not a Jewish state, it's not a Muslim state, it's not a Christian state. It is, in fact, a secular state.
Let me ask you this question, because this is a soundbite error, so you did answer it just now, but I want to ask it.
Yes.
In your speech at the United Nations on the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, were you advocating for the destruction of Israel?
Yeah, that's a great question, Charlemagne. No, I was not. I was not advocating for the destruction of Israel, and I do not advocate for the destruction of Israel. What I advocate for is a single state where everybody can vote. Some people want a two-state solution. You hear that term, two-state solution, Palestinians over here, Israelis over here. I'm not against that in theory.
You just want equality.
I just want equality. And the problem is we can't have two states because the Palestinian side, Israel is still building settlements on there. They're still expanding. It would be like if me and you were sharing a pizza and we're like, yo, how are we gonna slice the pizza? This way, this way, this way. And as we debate how to slice the pizza, I keep eating slices.
Right.
At some point, ain't nothing left. Right. And so, you know what I mean? So that's the point. So I'm advocating for one state for everybody. I don't want any harm to happen to Jewish people. I don't want the destruction of Jewish people. I'm just saying that we don't need a religious state to protect people. And at some point, you have to choose between a religious state and a democratic state.
Were you surprised at CNN when you got that information that you would no longer be working there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just got my house remodeled. You know what I mean? That's their buying shit.
That wasn't a huge shit. Come on, stop.
Man, I'm trying to build a case.
So
yes.
are you seeking legal
Shit, you fucking my case up. That wasn't that much money. Yes, it was.
So are you seeking
My
legal
children
action?
are hungry.
So I'm guessing you're seeking legal action.
I'm not pursuing any legal action right now for reasons I won't say on camera. But and it's nothing that deep. Me and CNN are going to part ways. And I'm going to move on and find something else and think about other stuff.
As long as they do the right thing.
As long as they do the right
and
thing.
you're still teaching at Temple University.
All right, call hello, Yahweh Bashim Al Shabbat, Bashim Kakadash. I want to give double honors to my apostles, elders, at Great Millstone, who will. Okay, peace, salutations, and many blessings to you brothers out there pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth, the true brethren out there. Including the so-called confusion of faith brothers as well, and any sisters out there that may be listening as well. Just real quick, it's nothing complicated. This guy Mark Lamont Hill, he was working for CNN, and at a certain meeting that was going on, he was trying to talk about how Palestine, should have certain rights when dealing with Israel and all of this, and they canned his ass, they fired his ass, because you would think somebody who would get up in that high position understands how things work and what everything is about, but just goes to show you, he went against the grain and he got his ass fired. And just like he says at the end of the clip that I played, he said, look, I'm not going to take legal action or anything like that, because he knows who runs the show. And he overstepped his boundaries when he mentioned how Israel was run. And it's interesting how he said that, because over there in Israel, like he was talking about, if you offend one of them or you go against one of those Palestinians, they have to go under a board, and they have to face trial for that, and they have to decide whether they still want you there or whatever the case may be. And just like here in St. Louis, you have St. Louis City and St. Louis County, which are both separated. St. Louis City is poor as shit, they don't have a lot. Heavily in debt, heavily in debt, heavily in crime. Basically nobody wants to move here. That's why the pricing for housing is so cheap in the city. Then you have the county, which has millions of people, which actually has more people than St. Louis City, which the two are legally separated. And these Edomites, they don't want to put them back together. And to make a long story short, the is broken up into different parts of the county, different I forget the exact word, but you got different territories even among the county, and the head territory is Clayton, Missouri. If you know anything about Clayton, Missouri, that's Amalekite Central. That's where all the Amalekites live at. And if you want to actually live there in Clayton, Missouri, with the Amalekites, you have to go in front of them, in front of a board, and they have to approve you to live there first, because they want to keep, they want to keep the property value up. They want to do all that shit, and they want to what's the word I'm looking for? They want to weed you out. They want to check and see who you are, who you know. And I've never actually seen any Israelites who live in Clayton, Missouri. Not one. Okay, but this is what the scriptures say, because even to this day, man, our people are lost in the sauce. And he's sitting here just to go to show you Jacob, the sons of Jacob. Let's see, he's sitting there, kissing Esau's ass, trying to advocate for Esau to make peace with the other nations and all this other shit. Well, you don't understand that there are things, written in the scriptures that have these people doing what they're doing. Okay, because many of these Amalekites, they really believe that they are the true people of the Bible, and that land goes back to their heritage thousands of years ago. Now, we know, of course, the scriptures tell you a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, but they actually believe that. And here's the scriptural foundation on which they believe. This is Isaiah 11:11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign from the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, Judah shall not vex Ephraim. And they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. There you go. So this is prophecy talking about the Lord is going to gather up the dispersed members of Israel, is the kingdom of Israel, the kingdom of Judah, which is basically all of Israel, and they're going to bring them back into their land. And just like it said, they shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, which means what? This is prophecy. This never actually happened. This means that Edom was never done away with. That Edom is there to this day. Okay, if the Lord's going to do this and they lay their hands upon Edom and Moab, that means Edom and Moab have to still be here in the end of times, because this never happened in history. Never did Israel and Judah come out the four corners of earth. To this day, we're still scattered. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and make men go over dry shod. And there shall be a highway for a remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. There shall be a highway for the remnant of his people. So it's going to be a lot of people coming up. Like it was. So just like it was in Israel that we came out of Egypt, it was a lot of people. So it's going to be a highway for those people. And that's crazy. That's how many people are going to come out the cut. Because this was, that whole Palestine shit, which this is Lebanon, this is going to something else, but where's it at? Yeah, that whole Palestine shit. Palestine goes back to Philistine. The Philistines. At a certain point, the Lord had it where we kicked. We kicked their ass, and I believe we drove them completely out of the land of Israel, and so it really should be no Palestine. Really this land is called Philistia, but the Philistines, we drove them out of the land of Israel, and then during the reign of Solomon, it was peace. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, because the Lord had us slaughter them people. We were at war with them for a long time. We were at war with the nations. Now this is Ezekiel 20:33. It says, "What? As I live, saith the Most High, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out, will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered with a mighty hand and with stretched out arm and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face." So he said, "And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with a fury poured out," lining up with Isaiah. Salakia. "And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith the Most High. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant." There you go. So, and once again, that never happened. Okay, because while the kingdom of Judah was dealing with Babylon and the Babylonian captivity, the kingdom of Israel, they came over into this land that we know as America, and they never came out of the four corners of the earth as well to return to Israel. That never happened. So we know none of this stuff has actually happened yet. And like I said, I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And we know that covenant is what? Matter of fact, let's go to it. Just to touch on it real quick. Yep, and here's the covenant. "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel, with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the land to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant I will make with the house of Israel. Saith, after those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people." There you go. So that the covenant, of course, we know the Lord is going to write His laws in our inward parts and make us perfect. Now, those people in the land of Israel perfect? Do they have the laws written in their inward parts? Hell no. Because what are they doing? To this day, they're relying on technology. They're relying on welfare. Israel is the biggest welfare state in the world. They get billions of dollars from America. They're fighting with, Iran. They're fighting with, these people of Palestine who really don't have shit, but they're still trying to fight against them. So There's no peace in Israel, and they know it. And the thing that brought them back to Israel, those people who are there now, let's see if this matches up with the covenant of the Lord. Of course, we know the Balfour Declaration, jumping down, it was issued through continued efforts of Chaim Weizmann and Nahum Sokoloff, Zionist leaders in London who fell short of the expectations of the Zionists who had asked for the reconstitution of Palestine as the Jewish national home. The declaration specifically stipulated that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine. The document, however, said nothing of the political or national right of these communities and did not refer to them by name. There you go. So this is a Zionist thing. Okay, and the Lord talked about Zion, but Zionism, that's something completely different. You know, just like Jewish, that's something completely different. You had the Lord is dealing with 12 tribes right now. Put it like that. You know, and basically this was a letter written by Arthur James Balfour, the British Foreign Secretary, to Lionel Walter Rothschild, who was a British leader. He was an Amalekite. Okay, and you know you wonder why. Well, why did he even write the letter? Well, you know, of course we know all these people work for Amalek anyway. That's the chief house of Edom. But just looking up this guy, Lionel Walter Rothschild, it's interesting. You know, he's British, so the Britannica, they do a good job of making him seem very innocent. They said what he studied at the University of Bonn, blah blah blah. His interests and ambitions in zoology, and then it just talks about zoology. Didn't talk about any other things, any other influences. You know, they try to make this man seem like he's just a fine gentleman who, you know, donated a few things. So you got to do a little research on his ass. And this is what you come up with. What is that? Oh yeah. At 21, see, they try to underplay this shit, man. And this is what they do with Amalek. They erase their history, they cover it up, they do all this bullshit. But the men of the Lord, we have the scriptures, we have that spiritual sight to see them. At 21, he reluctantly went to work at the family bank, N.M. Rothschilds and Sons in London. Okay, so boom, that's a flag right there. They got the same place that endorsed them going to Israel. There's a major bank there. He worked there from 89 to 1908. Blah blah blah. Then you look up the bank that he was at, N&M Rothschilds and Sons, or Rothschilds Group. They actually have a fucking group, a multinational investment bank and company controlled by the Rothschild family. Founded in the city of London in 1811, a global firm with 57 offices around the world, is the 7th oldest bank in the United Kingdom. So there you go. This is old money. And that's why they wrote that letter, because old money, and they try to downplay who it is. Oh, he's just a zoologist. Nah, this dude. These people have a lot of power. They have a lot of influence. You know, they know exactly what the fuck that they're doing. And shit, let them tell it. Niggas are the greatest enemy of the world. These people got billions of dollars, just like a private company owned by. And I'm pretty sure if you did some research on this company, you will see a whole bunch of dirty shit that they've probably done behind closed doors. I mean, it's not gonna say it online, but yeah. So spot it clean online, but hey, that's just what we're looking at. This is the foundation, because these so-called Amalekites, we know, of course, they study the scriptures as well, and so they try to use this as a foundation. So when our people come against, our people will sit there and talk about the Bible is not real, it's not relevant, it doesn't mean anything, all this bullshit out of their own heart. But then when you go against the grain for the foundation of what these people believe in, which is really stealing from you because you're all Israelites, now it's like, oh shit, now you got to go on the Breakfast Club and save face and do all of this. What claim do these people have other than outside of as written in the Holy Scriptures? The same as you. Okay, well, really, that's our land, but Jake doesn't think critically about it. They don't know it, and that they don't know the scriptures, and that's why they get into this kind of trouble. You're not gonna go on a job and just talk about, yeah, man, those Jewish people, they need to get out of Israel. They need to, hell no. That's an easy way to get fired. And shit, the men of the Lord know that. And that's why it's a beautiful thing to know the scriptures, because you got to know who you're dealing with and know how to deal with them. And with that being said, call halal Yahweh Bashim Al Shabbat Shem Kakadash Shalom.